What is up, everyone? It's story time, so I'm going to check my little wardrobe here, and I don't know why they would call that a wardrobe. I'd call it more of a cabinet. Anyway, books is what I want. Books. No, I want books. Okay, you can't. Alright. Holdings of Jarl Galjund. No, that's probably going to be really boring. I think I'll start with the very first book that you ever pick up in the game, which is where... Oh yeah, there you are. The Book of the Dragonborn. So that's what I'm going to read through right now. Do excuse my cough. Actually, I need to start over, don't I? Anyway. What's up? I'm Josh. This is Storytime, which is a series of little series I'm doing on the side of my Skyrim series, which is where I read through the books that I find in my playthrough Skyrim, because I've never actually taken the time to read most, in fact, I'm going to say all of the books in the game before, and I've played it through a fair few times, but I've never actually gotten around to reading any of the books. So I thought, why not make a series out of it? Which is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to start with the very first book that you pick up in the game, which is the Book of the Dragonborn. It's in the keep that you go in when the dragon attacks you right at the start of the game. It's right there in the dungeon room. So yeah, I'm about to read through it, and I hope you enjoy. And as you can see, I've already got quite a collection to work my way through, and it will grow quite quickly. I'm really struggling at the minute with my W's and R's, and I don't normally, so forgive me for that. So buckle up, because here we go. The Book of the Dragonborn. Hey, what happened? Oh, I took it. I didn't want to take it, I wanted to read it. Books. Put it back. Wardrobe. The Book of the Dragonborn. Buckle up. The Book of the Dragonborn by Prior Emmeline Madrine. Order of Talos, Wayan Priory. Year 360 of the Third Era. 21st of the reign of His Majesty Plagueis IV. Is that Plagueis as... or is that a D? Plagueis. Or is it Delagius? Well, I'm going with Plagueis. Pelagius. Apologies. Year 360 of the Third Era, 21st of the reign of His Majesty Plagueis IV. Many people have heard the term Dragonborn. We are, of course, ruled by the Dragonborn emperors, but the true meaning of the term is not commonly understood. For those of us in the Order of Talos, this is a subject near and dear to our hearts, and in this book I will attempt to illuminate the history and significance of those known as Dragonborn. Down through the ages, most scholars agree that the term was first used in connection with the Covenant of Akatosh, when the blessed Saint Alicia was given the Amulet of Kings, and the dragon fires in the Temple of the One were first lit. Akatosh, looking with pity upon the plight of men, drew precious blood from his own heart, and blessed Saint Alicia with the blood of dragons, and made a covenant that so long as Alicia's generations were true to the dragon blood, Akatosh would never endeavor... Sorry, I read that completely wrong. Akatosh would endeavor to seal tight the gates of oblivion, and to deny the armies of Daedra and undead to their enemies, the Daedra-loving Ialids. Those blessed by Akatosh with the dragon blood became known more simply as Dragonborn. The connection with the rulers of the empire was thus there from the beginning. Only those of the dragon blood were able to wear the Amulet of Kings and light the dragon fires. All of the legitimate rulers of the empire have been Dragonborn. The emperors and empresses of the first I struggle with this all the time. Cyrodiil? So Cyrodiilic Empire, founded by Alesia, remains Cyrodiil and his heirs. It's not remain, it's Riemann Cyrodiil and his heirs. And of course Timber Septim and his heirs, down to our current emperor, His Majesty Pelagius Septim IV. Because of this connection with the emperors, however, the other significance of the Dragonborn has been obscured and largely forgotten by all but the scholars and those of us dedicated to the service of the blessed Talos, who is Timber Septim. Very few realize that being Dragonborn is not a simple matter of heredity. I'm really struggling with my words at the moment, so I'm very sorry. Heredity. Being the blessing of Akatosh himself. It is beyond our understanding exactly how and why it is bestowed. Those who become emperor and light the dragonfires are surely Dragonborn. The proof is in the wearing of the amulet and the lighting of the fires. But were they Dragonborn and thus able to do these things? Or was the doing the sign of the blessing of Akatosh descending upon them? All that we can say is that it is both and neither, a divine mystery. The line of Septims have all been Dragonborn, of course, which is one reason the simplistic notion of it being hereditary has become so commonplace. But we know for certain that the early Cyrodiilic rulers were not all related. There is also no evidence that Riemann Cyrodiil was descended from Alesia, although there are many legends that would make it so, most of them dating from the time of Riemann and likely attempts to legitimize his rule. We know that the blades, usually thought of as the emperor's bodyguards, originated in Akaviri crusaders who invaded Tamriel for obscure reasons in the late First Era. They appear to have been searching for a Dragonborn. The events at Pale Pass bear this out, and the Akaviri were the first to proclaim Riemann Cyrodiil as Dragonborn. In fact, it was the Akaviri who did the most to promote his standing as emperor, although Riemann himself never took that title in his lifetime. And of course there is no known hereditary connection between Timber Septim and any of the previous Dragonborn rulers of Tamriel. Whether there can be more than one Dragonborn at any time is another mystery. The emperors have done their best to dismiss this notion, but of course the imperial succession itself means that at very least there are two or more potential Dragonborn at any time, the current ruler and his or her heirs. The history of the Blades also hints at this, although little is known of their activities during the interregnum between Riemann's empire and the rise of Timber Septim. Many believe that the Blades continued to search out and guard those they believed were or might be Dragonborn during this time. Lastly, we come to the question of the true meaning of being Dragonborn. The connection with dragons is so obvious that it has almost been forgotten. In these days, when dragons are distant memory, we forget that the early days being Dragonborn meant having the dragon blood. Some scholars believe that was meant quite literally, although the exact significance is not known. The Nords tell tales of Dragonborn heroes who were great dragon slayers, able to steal the power of the dragons they killed. Indeed, it is well known that the Akaviri sought out and killed many dragons during their invasion, and there is some evidence that this continued after they became Riemann Cyrodiil's Dragon Guard. Again, the connection to dragons. The direct predecessor to the Blades of today. I leave you with what is known as the prophecy of the Dragonborn. It often said to originate in an Elder Scroll, although it is sometimes also attributed to the ancient Akaviri. Many have attempted to decipher it, and many have also believed that its omens had been fulfilled and that the advent of the last Dragonborn was at hand. I make no claims as an interpreter of prophecy, but it does suggest that the true significance of Akatosh's gift to mortal mankind has yet to be fully understood. When misrule takes its place at the 8 corners of the world, when the brass tower walks and time is reshaped, when the thrice blessed fail and the red tower trembles, when the Dragonborn ruler loses his throne and the white tower falls, when the snow tower lies sundered, kingless, bleeding, the World Eater wakes and the wheel turns upon the last Dragonborn. And that's the end of the book. I'm going to actually take that and put it in you. Books. No, I don't want to read it. I want to store it. Store. So all my red books are going to be in here. Awesome. Right. Excuse me. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. I'm sorry for my stumbles. There were some words I struggled with. I'm usually a fairly good reader, but yeah. That's all for now. I think what I'm going to do is put it to the vote. You can see here what books I've got at the moment. So why don't you tell me in the comments section which you want to be next read. So I've got, what do we got? The Holdings of Jarl Galjund. I don't think that's really going to be a very good read, but I can if you want. Killing Before You're Killed. Lost Legends. Mysterious Akavir. Myths of Sheogorath. Nords of Skyrim. Rising Threat Volume 1. Rising Threat Volume 3. Probably not going to do these second volumes until I find Volume 2 and read that. So Rising Threat Volume 1, I'm not going to do that till I get number 2. I'm not going to do that till I've read number 2 and 3. Runes of Kamelzi. Song of Return Volume 19, Songs of Return Volume 2, Songs of Return Volume 7, The Ethereum Wars, The Alduin and Akatosh Dictomy, The Arcturian Heresy, The Bear of Markarth, The Book of Daedra, The Cabin in the Woods, I hope it's better than the movie, The Legend of Red Eagle, The Oblivion Crisis, The Real Brazania Volume 3. Oh no, that's version 3, isn't it? So yeah, there's that. The Third Era Timeline, Thief, Troll Slaying. And that's all I've got. So, you let me know what you want me to read next, and I will read it. And if I don't get any, I will pick my own. So, there we go. Thanks for watching. I hope you like. Please remember to subscribe and watch my other video, the Skyrim playthrough, which I'm doing in Skyrim Special Edition on Xbox One, because that's what I'm doing. This is a mini-series from that series, so do watch that. Like I said, subscribe. I've got a bunch of different places you can follow me, and they're all in the links in the description, like Twitter and Facebook and all that jazz. So yeah, please stay tuned. I'll be back with more soon. Catch you later.